Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Gumchu and I'm so glad you can join me again for this wonderful video we have ahead of us. Always appreciate your company and support as always, and if you have not yet supported the channel, go ahead and do me a favor and click on that subscribe button down below and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I release a wonderful ASMR episode for your enjoyment. And I do particularly like to chew gum while I do these videos, but I will do a half and half for today. So here we are talking about my most recent experience at the local racetrack, particularly for the exotic car tour experience. So the lovely partner surprised me with a gift. She took me to the racetrack and she surprised me with a 3-lap experience behind an exotic car. So the exotic car that I was able to get an experience with was the Ferrari F430, and it was a Spider. And you can see a few other people that are lapping around here. We got the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. We got the Lamborghini Gallardo. We have a few other Ferrari models. Some really well built up Mustangs. And yeah, the track is a very unique shape. It's not an oval track or anything like that. It's a very particular layout. It's very, very dramatic with the turns, that's for sure. So very sharp turns, really lengthy straightaways for, pinning it. But as you can see, now we went from the track video to what looks like a VR experience. This is a racing simulator with a triple monitor setup. I'm not sure what the specs of the computer are, but I definitely had the fantastic view of what it would be like to drive the Porsche. So I didn't miss out all the fun just driving the Ferrari this day. I captured the sounds for you to see what it sounds like, but it was a very, very difficult racing simulator. I have no idea what the car selection was, but the guy that came over to give me the opportunity to get buckled into this racing simulator was just like, okay, here you go. And I was like, well, do I get to pick a car? Don't think I was able to. Well, here's another view of me. You can see that the racing simulator actually moves back and forth with the momentum of the car that's being replicated in the video game. I don't know what game it is I'm playing, but the graphics are spectacular. The point of view could be better, but I mean, I do have a steering wheel and everything in front of me too, so I get to see a lot of different things all at once. Very distracting too, I will say. The experience was so immersive that I wasn't too sure what with my eyes, but you kind of get the hang of it over time after a few laps. But it took me nearly half an hour to get used to it. It was very sensitive. There was quite a bit of feedback from the throttle, the brakes, the steering. It's very interesting. I've never once experienced something like this before. I've gone to locations around town that offer like racing simulator experiences, but that was so long ago, I almost forget how fast technology changes, because in those racing sims, I did not have anything like this. So it's all very different. Technology changes so quickly. But you get to see that I'm driving the Porsche. I'm somewhat having a hard time. I'm not able to really get the throttle and brake controls down. I'm not very familiar with this. Also, I dislike the steering wheel that they chose for the racing simulator. It is like a Le Mans Cup car simulator steering wheel style. I much prefer the traditional steering wheel where you can actually do hand-over-hand movements, because there are moments where I find that the car is swerving out of the direction I want it to go to, and I immediately pull like a drift mobile maneuver, and I can't correct it. I keep smacking my hand on the top of the flat nose of the steering wheel here. But regardless, it is still a thrill. It was rather fun. I will say the car driving experience was exhilarating only because I made it exhilarating for myself. A fair warning to people who look into things like this: if you're looking to pay for more exposure to cars and more lap time and whatnot, it's definitely good for that, but I gotta be honest with you, with how much money they make, they should be letting people drive a little more up to their style. Now, I'm not saying it was awful, but when I got behind the wheel of the car, the gentleman that was spotting me was explaining to me that he controls most of the steering, he controls most of the braking, most of the shifting, almost everything, that it became very automatic. He only told me to worry about steering the car as best as I could, and also response, which I thought that was like particularly bizarre because I paid all this money, or my partner did. I drove out all this way to come to this place and waited 3 hours past the time that I was actually scheduled for to get behind the wheel of this car to drive it for a few laps. I'm gonna want to drive it the way I want to drive it. So let's just say that the folks at the track, I do apologize for causing a ruckus, but I was not very impressed when I was seeing that this guy was trying to control the car. So the car sounded exhilarating. It was so vibrant. It was something I've never had experienced before. Remember, these cars, most of them have an engine behind you that's pushing so much power and throttle response. It's almost deafening. But it was a very cool experience. I felt very calm. I felt very, very confident driving this car. It was very grippy around the corners. The brakes were so strong. So strong. You wouldn't even imagine that sort of braking force with any car to exist. I damn near freaking nosedived so hard the car almost wanted to flip forward. Yeah. Especially when you start to get the rhythm of it, your heart starts to pound so fast because of all the adrenaline that's going through your blood. You're taking these corners really fast, and like you start pressing the brakes really hard and getting the hang of like slamming the throttle when you're smoothing out of that curve. I will just mention that the VR that you're seeing right now, or the simulator experience rather, this is the exact track layout that I had the opportunity to try out. However, coming out of the pit stop, there is only one difference. You don't get a chance to go outwards to the right again. You have to keep going straight. So when I show you clips of the cars, oh no. This is where I spun out. I got very agitated though, I have to say, because it was very hard and very particular to learn the racing simulator. But either way. Also, a lot of understeer and oversteer from these cars. It was very particular. I don't understand why it was giving me so much feedback like that, but it is what it is. Anyways, I'm going to start chewing gum just for those who don't like it. But yeah. The other cars in this game would honk at you. So if it got too close, or if it wasn't getting out of the way, or if I was going too slow, they would honk at me. But yeah, a little different of a layout, but not entirely. I was able to get the idea of how the course was before getting on the track. And before they put you behind the seat of one of these cars, they do like a 10-minute refresher or like a instructional guideline on how to operate the cars, how the seating arrangement's supposed to be, like seating position, how you're supposed to steer the car, how you're supposed to maneuver the vehicle, how smoothness, maneuvering of the vehicle is a lot more beneficial. Yeah, and obviously the lapping went by way too fast. I probably spent 4 or 5 hours at the track just trying to kill time, but the amount of time spent on the car, it's probably 5 or 6 minutes. It's so sad. That's usually how it always is though. You go out of town for an experience, you're either waiting in line for a show, or killing time for the main event. Yeah. I will mention that this racetrack, the iCar Marble racetrack, there's several events happening all at once. While you're racing the Ferrari or whatever in the track, next to you is a MotoGP tracking event, or not MotoGP, but like motorcycle racing event. And then on the other side, it's go-karts. And on the other side, the far side, it's drag racing, time attack, drifting. It was incredible. I was able to see all the drift friends I have drifting their cars while I was waiting in line for the Ferrari drive experience. Here I am, still trying to get along with the Porsche that I'm not really happy with at this time because it keeps messing me up. But yeah, I definitely would recommend people to go check this out. It's definitely an interesting experience, but don't get your hopes up. Like I said, it might be a disappointment that you might not be able to drive the car fully to your intentions. That's what I was expecting. After all these years of seeing all these billboards and advertisements of drive your own exotic car for a few days or for a few hours or for a few laps, it's not what you think it'll be. At least not all of them. So anyways, we're almost wrapping up the video here. I get off the VR, and soon enough, I get back outside on the track, seeing others drive the cars out, having fun with spectating, seeing the ones that are going by really fast, some that are going really slow. And here I am going, why are they driving so slow? And it's because the instructors prefer you to drive it slower. Here's the Porsche rolling out. It sounds so mesmerizing, by the way. These cars sound amazing. They're like musical instruments. Here's the Ferrari that I'll be getting into. Another Ferrari. And here's a spectating car. You can get inside the passenger seat of this race car, and he goes hammering. Yeah, here he goes. It's just a 5-liter, though, stock engine, but it's manual. I wish the Ferrari was manual, to be honest with you, but the paddle shifters are so mesmerizing. I'm not for automatic cars and cars driving for you, but it definitely is a different feeling. It's like a quick shifter, an air shifter on the motorcycle. It's just programmed differently. It's so rapid. Well, here is my turn. And I soon get inside this vehicle that I once dreamt of owning when I was much younger. Here's the interior. Yeah, just your typical exotic Italian sports car look. Yeah, so here are some photographs of me at the track the lovely partner got for me. I had a grand time. Really was happy with the weather. Got some wicked shots with the cars. And to be honest with you, I probably would go back, but only if I'm rich. But I gotta be honest with you, I think my cars were cooler. Thanks for watching, you guys. Take care. Bye.